Welcome to Behind the Business, where we get to meet the people and hear the story behind some businesses in the Treasure Valley and beyond. I have as my guest today Nick Anderson. Nick is with the Crispian Advantage. Welcome, Nick. Glad to have you on.
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it.
Do you consider yourself a consultant?
A consultant and author. I wrote the book Focusing Change to Win based on a lot of research which we've published recently. Focusing Change to Win. Pause. The phrase, they're not on the same page, or we are not on the same page, will be familiar to many.
Yes.
And it's the conversation where somebody comes into a room and you're probably sitting there doing some task, and they say, "What are you doing?" And you reply, "I'm doing what you told me to do." And the reply is, "No, that's not what I meant." Right. Now, there's many variations on that theme, but you walk out and go down the corridor saying, "You have to be a mind reader to work around here." And the other person's walking in the opposite direction going, "They don't get it."
Now we have discord
and misalignment. Yeah. The unfortunate thing is the person who said they didn't get it is the boss, and they normally fire people. That's one of the most common reasons for firing people in North America, is they didn't get it. When in fact it's the leader's responsibility very often, where you start looking first for problems rather than looking to the individual.
And in that case, the leader may not have been as clear as he or she could have been.
Yeah, unfortunately, our projects show that 70% of leaders' expectations in relation to a change are either not known or not understood by those people implementing the change. Thus the mind reader quote, right?
So what are some areas that you typically look for alignment in companies?
Normally, the client comes to us with we've got a change, we've got some concerns. One, we haven't done it before. Two, we've done it before and it hasn't worked very well, but we know we have to change again. Like implementing a new computer system. Right. Everybody knows that there are going to be problems there. We generally ask people, said, what is it you fear about misalignment? What are the problem areas that you can see coming up? And we encourage them to use their own labels for those areas. It's got to be in their language, because they're going to be talking to people about it. They're going to be communicating it. They're going to be coaching and leading to it.
Yeah, it ends up being about me, and it's not about me as a consultant. It's about you and your company at what needs to change. Yes. I've heard it said that 1% of a company is having a vision, 99% is getting alignment to that vision. What kind of expectation should you be looking for or setting?
The first thing is that many people think they know what an expectation is about a specific change. Very often they'll say, well, we've got to cut costs, we've got to increase sales, we've got to improve our quality. Those are goals. They're not expectations of each person to achieve that goal. So an expectation itself has to have the following criteria, and we need smarter expectations. Specific, measurable. A is agreed. R is realistic. T is time-bound. E is ethical. That's to do with your values of how you want to do business and how you treat people. And R is recorded, and that's what we're trying to generate with people, smarter expectations. Obviously, bringing about a change, the leaders are going to kick off the game with their expectations. The problem comes when leaders try and then get expectations from other people. And we use this word that isn't used very often, but it's a very important word, is elicit, to elicit expectations. And that word is different because it's saying I create the environment that somebody really gives me what they really expect of me, rather than what they think they want me to say. Some of the most valuable people in a change are those that are skeptical. Your most experienced technician, longest serving salesperson, your quality control or whatever. These people will be skeptical, which means they're going to question you, and you need that to actually get a change to work. Now, cynical, of course, is beyond the pale and different, but skeptics are really your best allies. If you can bring those around, people will actually take a lot of notice. Oh, well, Jill's actually in favor of this. Fred, you know, Fred actually said that he thinks it can work. And suddenly a whole group of people start saying, oh, okay, it's not going to be so bad. You know?
Now, how do you get people to comply with those expectations?
Well, compliance is a funny word. Be
probably
committed.
The wrong word, maybe agreement.
Well, compliance goes back to not having the right environment, that people are telling you what they think you want them to say. We've sat down and talked about expectations, and the critical conversation is, this is what I expect of you. Does that match with what you think I expect of you? That's the testing understanding. that's so crucial.
Do you think it's because we're just so busy that people aren't taking time to be thorough in their communications?
There is the old Chinese expression to hurry slowly, and the best leaders of change, if you look at them, they are, it's a clumsy phrase, but it's very accurate, radical gradualists. Radical, they have a vision. Like Fred Smith had to change legislation to get his company FedEx to work, right? Gradualist was, I recognize that every day is small steps. Gradual. It's not the big bang and the balloons and the party hats and the conference up at Shore Lodge and wasn't it great and I got a bad headache. I mean, that's not, that's not real change. Real change is there's a clear radical vision and there's a recognition that gradually you have to move towards it. You can't get there, just go there.
How do I get expectations from others and get buy-in to execution?
So if I have 13 expectations of you, Jim, and you think I have 12, that's pretty close. On the other hand, what I don't realize is you've got 22 expectations of me and I only think there are 4.
Right.
And that's real data. That's 2 senior executives on a very large construction project. And that pattern was repeated. Everyone understood what Tom wanted. Tom didn't really understand what his leadership team wanted. The other thing about an expectation is we've got to go through a process to achieve alignment, and it works like this. Do you agree with my expectation? Yes. Okay. So have you got alignment? No. You've just started.
You just got agreement.
So then you ask the person who's agreed to your expectation, okay, tell me how you see that working and what are you going to be delivering to me? And then you're going to hear a lot of things that you will indicate that that person really understands your expectation. Then the person holding the expectation has got to say, normally the leader has got to say, what help does Jim need, for example, in meeting my expectation? That might be budget, political support, and it could be coaching and training.
Yeah.
You can't absolve yourself just because I told you what the expectation was and you agreed it.
Right.
I've got to really make sure, because I don't want to have the conversation, which is, what are you doing? I'm doing what you told me to do. No, that's not what I meant.
Not what I said.
We just don't need that. The competition's out there, not inside the organization. I think one of the things you've got to look at is, why do people resist change? And in your own organization, or the people that you recruit from other organizations don't come without any bags. And it's really talking to them before you're planning a change to say, talk to me about your experience of bringing about change or growing a company or whatever context you're in, and really hearing them. Because in that process, you're immediately establishing a very unusual dialogue for them, which means, oops, I'm going to be listened to. Oops, I can see now in the change that my views have been taken account of. And that really open talking about change readiness, and why individuals are differently resistant is a really important part of individualizing change, because the critical thing is change is personal before it can be organizational. If you look in the book, the email is still the preferred way of communicating change, according to this survey of 1,000 managers from 80 countries in 19 industry segments. It's endemic that we use one-way communication. And all the research about successful change is that one-on-one time with your senior salesperson or your new programmer, and sitting down and really talking to them about change and their attitudes to it is really critical.
Yeah, I don't think there's any substitute to that face-to-face engagement that helps us see, hear, and feel what we're talking about.
And face-to-face doesn't mean a computer screen.
Yeah.
It means literally being in the same place. Being present with people is so much more valued by people today because of all the social media is remote, and we're talking to a screen, not a person, and that's a critical part of change.
So, Nick, give your contact information in case one of our listeners would like to reach out to you.
Sure. On the web, the crispianadvantage.com. Awesome. Which is my email, nanderson@thecrispianadvantage.com.
Rush out there and get Nick's book, Focusing Change to Win, a leadership change manual. Just glancing through it, looks